my number one lesson for them is start at a number that resonates with you. Like more often than not, people come to coaching from a place of scarcity, and like their desperation determines their value. And it kind of takes a long time, including myself. I was very scared to charge. And what I would say is my engagements are focused on retainers. They're focused on value. And we've even had equity within companies as an exchange.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm Kevin, and today we are joined by Vivian Garcia-Tunon. I think I said that right. You've been a coach for over 10 years. You are the founder of VGT People Advisory, which is more than just your initials. You have a whole meaning behind it. I thought that was really cool. But welcome to the show, Vivian. So happy to have you here.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah. The first thing I asked you was like, how long, like one of the first questions I asked you when pre-podcast was like, how long have you been a coach for? And you said 10 years. And so I always like to begin this podcast with the origin story, the lore. What was the story of you not only becoming a coach, but wanting to start a business out of this? I'd love to hear about that.
So as you say that, the thing that comes to me is my friends who've known me since I was a child will say I've always been a coach. Most of my guy friends will tell you I've always been a coach, always helping people. But it was my origin story was 2014. I had a very successful corporate career. I just reached a new peak, which was getting a promotion. And getting that promotion wasn't exactly what it was cracked up to be in my mind. It was a moment of realization that something needed to change in me. And so in 2014, I kind of went on my own personal development journey. I signed up for a lot of classes. I was looking for a lot of new jobs. I was ready for something new. And it's really funny. They say when you're ready, kind of the road meets you or the net meets you. And it was November of 2024, and I was being coached in my coaching program, one of many that I was taking at the time. And I was like, in the coaching program, I said, I want to do this full time. And literally, I felt like the mic dropped and everything around me changed within a week of me saying that.
Oh, wow.
And so literally, I was like perfectly aligned to get a job offer that was going to give me like this amazing package. It was everything that someone could dream of. And literally, I think this happened on a Wednesday. And the next day, I get a call from the recruiter, and the recruiter's like, I have some really bad news for you. The company's gone on a hiring freeze, and they can't make an offer to you. And I was like, huh? I'm like, I've been planning this whole strategy. I know how I'm going to leave my company. Da, 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 da. And little did I know how powerful my words were. I created this opportunity for my job offer to be put on hold. So the path that I thought was going to take disappeared in front of me in no time at all. And the next Tuesday, I had a conversation with my boss. And my boss was like, you're really not happy here. And I was like, no, I'm really not. She's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, what are my options? And she's like, well, like you can look internally, you can look externally, you can leave, whatever you want. And I was like, leaving. It's my path. Let's make this happen. Where this courage came from, I have no clue. Like looking back, I'm like, it just came out of me. And I was like, okay, like I've made my decision very clear. And these opportunities were coming for me to align and make the next steps forward. So it was probably 3 weeks later that I left my corporate career. And it was a month later that I officially launched. And that's how I started VGT People Advisory. There was no business plan. There was no nothing. It was a big leap of faith, and kind of walking into the doors that were opening for me.
That's so crazy. The way that you were describing your story, I was like, "Oh, this is like one of those ayahuasca. It feels like one of those ayahuasca stories that people talk about."
Let me tell you, there was no ayahuasca involved. This was just life. It was crazy. Yes.
So the path that you thought you were going to go on dissolves right in front of you. You start this coaching business. There's two questions in my mind. One, how are you feeling making that huge transition? Were you scared?
Because I stated it and like I knew it's what I wanted, but it's scary as hell. I'm not going to lie. Like when you decide that the world around you that you know you're walking out of and it's comfortable and naturally you start questioning yourself. Like there were job opportunities that came up for me internally and like things people were trying to keep me in. And so it was this really tricky dynamic because it was like, do you choose the path that you've now stated to the universe you want, or do you continue to get tempted by new things? And that's kind of how I see coaching oftentimes is like, you can get clear on what you want, but are you willing to accept and receive it? So it was scary, but I also had this undeniable faith and courage and hope that it was going to work out. There was just this piece inside of me that was like, this is what I'm destined to do. And like, it's going to be okay. Was it always that way? I don't know. But in making the decision, I kind of had that faith.
Yeah. And I'm so curious too, like the journey of obviously in order to have a business, a coaching business, you need some sort of clients, right? And so I'm very curious about, you know,
Sometimes.
let me rephrase, a profitable like coaching business. Yeah, everybody's talking about target audience or ICPs and stuff. And so I'm kind of curious, like, how did you decide who you want to help and the evolution of that?
It started off that I wanted to help everyone. Like I was like, I want to do research. I've had this very narrow career and I had a great career, but I didn't like, I knew who I could serve. I knew who I could help, but I also needed to build my confidence as a coach. And so I wanted variety. I wanted kind of depth and breadth to my practice because the more variety, the more you learn and grow as a coach. So truthfully, I would say the first year I said yes to anyone. Like I was like, yes, let's go. Yes, let's go. I don't know how I'm going to help you, but like this is going to be my growth and my expansion. I think because of my courageous journey, my clients found me, people that were willing and ready to take a leap of faith and go somewhere on a different path, whether it be a new corporate career or building a new business. Those were the people that I was attracting. So if I'm being totally honest, and yes, it's hokey to say that, like, I feel like this path chose me. I was open to saying yes to people that were coming to me. Probably, and I'll caveat this by saying way too open, as I've learned the journey of 10 years, but that's okay. Like it was all a growth journey. And I think today, those people are still the people that come to me. I think I've continued to evolve my passion, and that's something that continues to expand in kind of how I grow the business. In the state of the world, last year's election really kind of inspired me to work with more women, just because I felt like it was a path for me to help empower more women. And so that's kind of been a new evolution that I'm working on. But I think to answer your question, I think it naturally evolves. The more you practice, the more you listen to your intuition,
Mm,
and the more you're open to new experiences.
yeah, I love that. Yeah, because it's always really interesting. Like, I always like to ask this question for more experienced coaches because, like, it's so interesting seeing who they thought they were going to initially help. Totally, I would put bet. I'm from Vegas, right? I put freaking odds on like it changing throughout the years. So thank you for sharing your experience there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, there's a lot of pressure when you're becoming a coach
Mm,
of like, what's your niche going to be? Like, who's your target audience? And I wasn't ready to claim it. I didn't
yeah.
want to claim it. And a lot of people come to me because I've been in the industry for 10 years and had this practice. The first thing I say is like, just say yes to the things that excite you and see where it goes. Like,
Yeah.
don't force your funnel, just see what comes to you.
You said something really wise too. You said like at the time you just started saying yes to everything because you needed to build your confidence as a coach. And I think a huge part of what you just said now really goes into it, building confidence on being like, who are the people can I actually help? Who are the people that I actually like helping? And so there's a lot of wisdom in that. So, okay, people are starting to work with you. How did they find out about you? Like, what did your marketing look like back then? And what does it look like now? Why did you laugh?
Uh, I mean, everyone loves asking these questions, and
Yeah.
I'm totally transparent on this journey. My marketing didn't exist. Let me
Mhm.
be clear. It was a website, and I people that are in career transition, I tell them all the time. I'm like, you hide behind your resume, you hide behind your website because it's your biggest place of insecurity.
Mm,
But let me tell you, what happened was I started having fun, and I would meet people in the most random of places in a New York City cab, and they'd be like, "What do you do?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm an executive coach." They'd be like, "Really? I need one." And so it really became word of mouth. It really was something that each good experience led to new doors opening for me, new programs, new ideas, new developments. And it was serving one client at a time. Like this
mm,
idea that, trust me, there was a fear inside of me that I'd never make the money. I would never be able to sustain my life. Like the entrepreneurial fear was definitely there. But from a marketing perspective, by sharing my story on LinkedIn, meaning I literally said, "Hey guys, I've just left Capital One. I'm launching a coaching business." The more patient I sat there, the more people showed up for me.
mm.
And the story of patience is really hard as a coach when you're trying to make money.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Man, and so what does it look like now? Or it sounds like your main marketing is like, oh, sharing your stories on LinkedIn, but are you experimenting with any other marketing at the moment? Or have you tried a marketing like channel and it just totally bombed or did not go the way they expected?
I will say I've dabbled in different things, and candidly, I don't know that I've fully believed in the power of marketing. I think that's been my 10-year journey as well, if I'm being totally transparent. I have dabbled in different things. I'm doing more content, I'm doing more newsletters. Truthfully, Mel Robbins' book, Let Them This Year,
Yeah.
reminded me like, hey, everyone has a roadmap. Everyone can be successful. Why don't you do the things that you're scared to do? And so the LinkedIn content has been a part of my strategy to be more consistent. Building my newsletter has been part of my strategy to just get in front of my community and
Mhm.
offering different opportunities. So, yeah, I have started growing in that space. I continue to push myself
Mm.
because it's a place of discomfort, but it's definitely a big place of growth for me.
Oh, thank you for being so vulnerable about that too and open and transparent about that. So I do want to ask you, like, okay, so you're putting this content out on LinkedIn. There's word of mouth. You're working with clients. People are talking about you, probably saying like, "Hey, you got to meet Vivian or whatnot," right? And so, okay, let's say they are working with you. What do your coaching modalities look like? Because I know some people they love one-on-one, some love group coaching and all that. But can you walk me through your main coaching modalities or main offerings that you have for your business?
Absolutely. So there is one on one. coaching, which I would say that's the most common funnel that people come to me for. It tends to be kind of the most intimate setting. That tends to be a 6-month program
Mhm.
that individuals work with me. From there, I have group programs, both inside organizations and now this year running independently
Mm.
through VGT. And then we also do organizational engagements. So we have literally led transformation for entire companies.
Mhm.
So starting at the top of the house, working with the CEO, the leadership team, transcending
Yeah.
coaching throughout the entire organization. Anywhere from 6 months to a year journey of trying to change the cultural dynamics within organizations. So it's pretty exciting when you see the impact of a whole organization changing from start to finish.
How do you get those organizational deals? Because like your story went from, yeah, I just launched this thing and now I'm like doing major transformations for these organizations.
You know, again, I think my word for this year was present. And my goal in engaging with people is being present.
Mm.
And it has been the organizational deals that have come to me from small opportunities that I helped someone. Like I helped someone's daughter interview. And then he was like, you know what? Let me bring you into our organization. We have a full cultural transformation. Can you lead it? And I was like, sure. So was it a direct strategy? No. And the other one was very similar. I think you cultivate relationships and you cultivate listening with individuals. And at the time that they need something, they think of you. And I've
Mm.
been very fortunate that it's kind of happened year over year. Some big transformations come our way.
Mm. Something I'm also curious about because a lot of coaches, I feel like money is like the not the black swan, but like kind of like this taboo topic taboo topic a lot of times that coaches feel very insecure about. Of course, you don't need to go over any hard numbers or anything like that, but I'm very curious about pricing strategy because this is where most people struggle with. And so, like for your engagements, how do you think about your pricing? Because I know some people do hourly, like when they're new, and then they do project based, value based, retainer, subscriptions. There's probably a lot more different models out there, but which ones do you kind of like resonate to?
I'll go back to saying it's been a journey. Any new coach that's out there, my number one lesson for them is start at a number that resonates with you. Like more often than not, people come to coaching from a place of scarcity and like their desperation determines their value, and it kind of takes a long time, including myself. I was very scared to charge. And what I would say is my engagements are focused on retainers.
Mm.
They're focused on value, and we've even had equity within companies
Oh.
as an exchange. So, yes, the truth is you have to be willing to be creative. But for me, the hourly rate, I don't like it, if I'm being totally honest, because
Yeah.
I feel like the exchange of energy becomes transactional in a way that isn't relational. And so if someone's like, Vivian, I need 10 more minutes of your time, or you didn't give me 10 minutes of time, like, can you make it up for me next week? Like, it doesn't feel as generous. And for me, it's about having a space that both people are winning
Yeah.
and feeling like it's a generous exchange. But let me be clear, it's a journey to get to those places of confidence
Mm.
around different kinds of engagements.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've had this conversation with a lot of different coaches, thankfully because of this podcast, right? And I talk about hourly sometimes. I'm like, dude, coaches don't like hourly. Clients don't even like hourly because they don't even like tracking, like or being like, "Hey, is this person actually accurate?" So you're right about the energetics and and all that too. That whole dynamic.
I think the tricky part is when it depends who your client base are, if you're working with organizations or if you're working with individuals. I think organizations, a lot of startups tend to be more transactional based and kind of more scarce with resources. And so a lot of them do want to do hourly transactions. So I
Mm.
think you have to be flexible or depending on your demographic of people. But I think that can be hard when they're clients that you want to work with and kind of being creative around how you find a valuable exchange.
Thank you for sharing that nuance, by the way. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see use cases for hourly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't like them though. I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh.
no, I agree. I personally I don't like them, but the question is how flexible do you want to be to work with different people?
That's
And
right.
I think that's where people have to make
Yeah.
their own decisions.
By the way, anybody listening to this and charging hourly, please know that I don't judge you too harshly or anything like that. I won't hold anything against you if you're eventually on this podcast. But yeah. Let's switch questions because I am like, okay, now that we have a glimpse of how your business works from a really high level, what are your future endeavors, like your future goals? So like the question I have is like, where do you want this coaching business to take you in the next few years? Do you have any secret dreams or big ambitions? Very curious on that.
I did allude to the fact that I want to work with more women, and VGT People Advisory is going to continue to service corporations and individuals in terms of different programs, different workshops. And I'll tell you a little secret that there is an organization called Hopeful that I'm in the middle of launching. And the focus there is helping women transition into the entrepreneurial journey. And
Mm,
so it's creating a community of women and a cohorts of women to support each other on the journey. Based on my experience of leaving corporate, it was a very isolating experience at the time. And my journey of building community to be successful, it's kind of my tribute back. And so the goal is to have a community of women that are working on their transitions, supporting their growth in their businesses, and then building a fund to be able to allow to invest in other women.
congratulations
So
on that. That's awesome.
now you're really calling me out. Thank you.
Yeah, I think like spaces for women, especially like that, it's important because men and women, in my opinion, are pretty different. You know, we're seeing this trend on like YouTube where it's like soft entrepreneurship, right? If you go to any bro guy, they're like, "What the heck is this?" But like with women, it's like there's nuances because your biology is different. You have the whole hormone cycles and stuff and all that too between your phases. You're super productive during some phases and other phases you're just like, oh my god, kill me right now, right? Like so um I know that's
I love how transparent and well educated you are on this space
oh
because that's
I've
pretty
been on
impressive
the other end listening to it. So
on the receiving end
yeah.
of it.
Yeah. I'm like, thank God you're helping us men too. So yeah.
Exactly.
No, but like I'm really glad that you're like having these spaces for women as well. And so as you are kind of like scaling your business or launching this new initiative, right? What are some, yes, the challenges and bottlenecks, but what are you kind of noticing like beliefs or fears too coming up in with this next phase?
So it's been interesting. This idea came to me about over a year ago, and the last year has truly challenged me in my relationship with women because it's forced. I believe we're all mirrors for one another, and so as a coach that has to hold a mirror for other people, they also kind of share with you. Clients will also kind of trigger things inside of you. And so I believe this year has been my preparation of having to face with clients a lot of issues, new issues with them and for myself.
Mm.
So I've experienced more conflict with women, more need for resolution and healing with women, and more strength and courage to collaborate with women. And so, and stand for women. And so it's been training ground this year to see and prepare myself for the launch of Hopeful.
You mentioned before the podcast, you said a really powerful quote. Every year is a year of growth. And we were talking about the contrast between certain coaches who just like to stay a bit stagnant, but you have a very different philosophy. And so as you're thinking about this next phase for your business, what do you feel like has to grow or change for you, both on a tactical level, but also personally as well?
So, one of my mantras this year has been love anyway. And it's the theory of reclaiming your power of unconditional love with individuals. And that has been my greatest guide and my greatest challenge this year. It is loving and accepting people anyway, where they are. And so, as a coach, you always hold space for them. And as I've been challenged in working with new women facing new challenges and challenges targeted at me at times, I've had to learn to open myself up and hold even more love to be able to show up for this next creation, if that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah, one thing I like about you is like you focus a lot on the inner work or deep work as well. And I can tell you that you're really big on that. And I want to thank you for bringing that up because so often we look at the surface level problems, which are important too. Don't get me wrong. Like, oh, we need to hire like these things and stuff like that. But like, there's something so beautiful about the human mind where we have this thing called the reticular activating system. And if we have certain beliefs, like, oh my God, like my business is dying, right? All our attention is going to go there and actually self-fulfilling prophecy. So thank you for bringing up the deeper work side as well and what's going on in your mind there. How about like I guess one of the things I'm also curious about is like I don't know how big your organization is or anything like that, but are you thinking about hiring or like the typical scaling? Like you know how a lot of businesses talk about scaling and stuff like that in the traditional sense. Where's your mind in terms of that?
The model that I've built to date is having consultants that come in and out of the organization.
Mm.
Consultants that I've worked with, consultants that I've known, consultants that have been referred to me, both to build the infrastructure of the business
Mhm.
as well as to deliver on the business. So I haven't felt secure in bringing on full-time employees. It's been a journey of building confidence in this business. It's been 10 years of continuing to find that faith and trust in the business. My hope would be to have more full-time support and to find the right people to be on board as we continue to grow, continue to deliver more programs, and continue to kind of receive more contracts and more scalability. And it's a journey. So right now, that's kind of where I stand on it is once I see the sustainability financially, then I feel like I will be in a better place. Candidly, if we look back at 2020, things happen with facing uncertainty that I do feel more confident that we are growing into a place with more demand and more need in the market and supporters and champions in the market. So my hope is that yes, there will be more people and we will get there.
Mhm. Vivian, would you like to play a game?
Yes, I love playing games.
It's not a super fun one. I like honestly, I go back and
Oh,
forth with Davis, and I'm like, dude, I want to do Japanese game show style. And he's like, no. So I had to create this kind of boring game, but it's very interesting for the listeners, I guess, right? From the feedback we've been getting. Anyways, it's called Good Investment, Bad Investment. I'd love to know what has been your best business investment on your coaching business, and what has been the worst one that made you wish that you could get your money back from.
my best investment has been in myself,
Mm.
to be honest. Continuing to invest in my growth, my development, and my network. Um, so that is kind of how this business has continued to grow and continue to expand. My worst investment,
Before we
I've
go
had
into
a
worst,
lot of them.
before we go
Yeah,
into
go
worst,
right ahead.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of curious the modalities. Like you mentioned investing into yourself, but like is there a particular modality that you felt like really was a catalyst to your growth?
Every single one has kind of expanded my practice and expanded my experience. So I obviously started off with traditional coaching. I studied positive psychology. I studied different assessments. I did Reiki. I did energy healing. To me, I follow the curiosity. I study a lot of spirituality, a lot of channeling. So I just think it's continuing to allow yourself to grow and expand in ways that you're curious about and see where it comes. So investing in my growth has led to my ability to go deeper and deeper with the clients that we service and support. The one that I think that most people don't talk about is energy healing, and kind of the energy dynamics that really has a powerful impact on your life on all levels, mind, body, and soul. And that's one that I believe continues to allow for more depth and experience and transformation with clients.
Mm.
So I think, to your point, many people will come and be like, I got to solve a surface level problem. I got to change a job, or I want to do this. Like, great, no problem. But the inner work of changing your experience and kind of healing something deeper certainly has a much more profound experience with people.
Yeah, yeah, that is very true. Especially when you get into the topics of like shadow work and stuff like that. Like we all see the symptoms, but the core work a lot of times is the shadow work and stuff. Anyways, this is about career coaching. No, like if it was my own podcast,
This is deep today.
I would go into the 2 hour rabbit hole, but let's go into your worst investment.
My worst investment was investing in other people's processes. And I invested to create an online program. And candidly, there's so much money that people chase in this industry. There's so much, and this wasn't my idea, but I kind of went along with it out of curiosity. And when you go and invest money, but you don't fully believe in it, guess what? It's not going to come to reality. Your beliefs are really holding you back. I learned a lot of painful lessons in that investment, not only in the product and the creation of the product, but also in the people that I kind of was transacting with. So you got to learn to trust yourself, build trust with the people that you want to build relationships with, and really get clear on the vision of what you're creating rather than get enamored with the idea that I'm going to become the next $100 million coach, $10 million coach, whatever. Like, you can't chase it. You have to create it from the inside out.
I love it. Vivian, this has been quite the podcast. I think we went deeper in certain directions that I personally love, like especially the inner work and all that. And it's pretty amazing what you've built, like from that initial story that you shared of just like starting this, having no plan and just like you're like, oh, I'm doing this to
Peace
doing,
out.
yeah, to doing organizational deals to like how you felt, the emotional vulnerability, and also the tactical type of stuff too of the pricing strategies. I really appreciate all the wisdom that you brought here today. And so my final question for you is, how can people find you and connect with you?
The best way to find me, they can find me on LinkedIn. It seems like the easiest way. My website is www.vgtpeopleadvisory.com. It is under construction, and there's an easy way to subscribe on the bottom. If you want to contact me, you can certainly email me at vivian@vgtpeopleadvisory.com.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to a podcast today, Vivian. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. I've loved this conversation, Kevin. Thanks for guiding me in places I wasn't expecting to go and announce.
My pleasure. Maybe we'll have you for part two and see how you're doing in a year from now or so. But yeah, would love to have you back on. Actually, this is always a little bit fun. This will actually be my last question, and then we'll debrief after. But this is my last question. Any prediction that you want to make in the next year? And maybe it doesn't have to be super, super like deep. Let's do like let's do something light. So like, do you think you'll have your first full-time hire by next year? Realistically. If this is a year of growth, maybe that will be a belief that will be gone, but like one full-time hire, you think? Yes or no?
So my body's saying yes. My
Oh,
body gives me my answers before my brain does, as we know. And my body's saying yes.
solid prediction. And well, if you're to think through it just for a second, who do you think that first hire will be?
That I don't know, if I'm being totally honest. There's a lot of people around me right now
Yeah.
that I haven't, and part of the work is creating the role,
Mm.
like creating the expectations of what I need. So that's my homework, is to create the criteria of what I need, and then be able to define it in a way to be able to attract it. So I can't predict yet.
It's on the podcast. It's official. So we'll see if you actually
Yep.
have your first hire by next year.
If when you
When?
jerk.
Sorry. My
Way
reticular
to mix
activating
me.
system is like, it's not gonna
Exactly.
happen. No. When it happens, for sure. Thank you so much, Vivian. I had a blast.
Absolutely. I loved it. Thank you so much, Kevin.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.